Okay, I just recorded a video. I just want to talk about something else. Um, I'm a 13-year-old, and I've never been in a super serious relationship that's like, years long, or whatever, mature people. But, just advice from a 13-year-old. Let's talk about romance, let's talk about shit. Have you ever been in a relationship where you feel like only you are keeping everything up? Have you ever been in a relationship where you feel like you're the only one carrying all the loads, the logs, the boats? It's normal. In any relationship, not even only romance. You can feel like you are holding up everything. That's fine. Try to understand what your partner is going through. Try to understand their loads too. Because maybe right now they just can't carry what you both have. That's fine. You gotta give people some chance. And even though I've never been in a super serious relationship, I, I made that mistake. I thought that I was the only one carrying everything. Like I thought I was the one leading the whole relationship. And no, I was very wrong. And if you think that, you're wrong too. Sorry. Well, depends on your specific situation, but almost always wrong. Because people, you gotta understand what they have to do on their own too. You know, Let me talk about my ex, not the recent one. She was shitty. From when I was 12. 12 is a very young age. Um, I'm only 13. But this girl, we were a long distance relationship. And let me just say, um, sometimes I felt like she didn't care. Sometimes I felt like I was the only one, texting, calling, sharing. And, sometimes I was right. You know, Sometimes she just didn't want to talk. But, I misunderstood her. And I fumbled, for sure. I, I assumed, assuming is it's such a thing to talk about. Because assuming, it's an infinite possibility. You could assume anything about a person, about a thing, about any situation at all. And it's kind of stupid to do. But obviously, assuming, it's not a choice, it's an instinct, right? It's an instinct that you can control. Because that's the first thought that's put into your mind when anything happens before you even process it. And that's kind of crazy, honestly. But, you know, people tend to use assumptions before, what they actually understand. Because assumptions aren't what you think, they're what you initially think. And people tend to use that as their truth. They tend to believe it instantly. And it's stupid. I don't know if my ex is watching this right now. Like, yo, I do not want you back, by the way. I'm just saying that I fucked up. I know. But, I shouldn't have assumed, you know. And if you're watching and you're doing the same thing, if you're mad at someone, don't assume. Because people have so much in their lives that they're busy with, that they're doing. And, sure, whatever you're going through right now, whatever you are right now, it could be more important. It could be urgent. It could be an emergency. You know. But people, like I said in the video I just recorded, people have their own limits. So you gotta let them pass. You can't force them to go on your path. Let's say you're in a skiing competition or something, and you're skiing down together like this, right? You can't just tell her, yo, can you come here for a bit? It doesn't work like that, right? So let's relate this to problems. You have this problem, you have that problem, and it all somehow leads to your relationship. So let's say this is your relationship, and this is her, and she has all those problems. She can't just leave those and then go to yours. Sure, yours could be a priority. Obviously, it's a relationship, but you gotta let them go. Let them free on their own pace. You gotta let them be the ones to naturally come to you. You know? So don't make assumptions and don't just just wait. Be patient. Patience is it's a virtue, and you gotta make sure that you know what you know before you use it against anything. So the next time that someone, you see something or whatever, you hear something, don't make that reality because that's just what you hear, what you see. You don't actually know. So yeah, if you're mad, if you heard something about someone, don't use it against them, and never use it for your brain to think of them like that for the rest of your life. It's messed up. People are people, okay? Let them go. Yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know because that's something, even though I'm so young, I know that that ruins relationships really easily. You know, my recent ex, she did technically cheat on me. And sure, your assumption can be right, like mine. It was right. It was right. I was right. I know what I saw. And sure, let's say I have a very short summary of that. Even if nothing happened. If the person says that they're uncomfortable with it, it shouldn't happen again, even if there's nothing, right? So let's say even though there's no cheating, but they're close. They're close. Just because the one partner says they don't like it, it shouldn't happen again. Especially when agreed. So just, you know, assumptions. This whole video is about assumptions. Sometimes it can be right, but you should never use that to think of someone. You should, if you hear something from someone else, if you do something and you see something, don't put that thought into your mind that they're like that before you actually find out. Bye bye.